Welcome to the PDX files. Each week we dive into the weird and the unexplained here in the Pacific Northwest and beyond. My name is Peej.
And I'm Mac.
And Mac, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're gonna get into some of the more famous legendary ghost stories around the world. We're not just stopping here. Well, I don't think there's any stop here in the Pacific Northwest, but it's around the world and some of the most amazing stories and really legendary stories that you might have heard of. So we're gonna get into that, sort of break it down.
Right on. Well, as usual, I have not seen this video, and so my responses will be authentic. And let's get it going here.
10. Peg and Whistle.
You ever seen the spirit of Peg and Whistle?
The rangers will tell you this. They've been here for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
They say that if you go that trail at night, you will see her between, I don't know, midnight, I don't know what it is.
Really?
They see it all the time.
In life, this Welsh-born English beauty was aspiring stage and screen actress Millicent Lillian
Chola.
and Whistle. Tragically, she only achieved the fame she craved after she leapt from the H on the, as it was then known, Hollywoodland sign to her death.
She wrote the ending to her own story.
On September 18th, 1932, Hollywood police got an anonymous phone call from a woman who claimed to have found a body under the sign. But that was not the last time Peg was found. Not alive, anyway. Since her death, hikers and park rangers have reported a ghostly blonde-haired woman sadly wandering near the iconic landmark, but who vanishes if you approach. Others have reported the overpowering scent of gardenias, Peg's signature perfume.
It's been 70 plus years since she died, but people still see a woman in period clothing appropriate for the time that she died, walking up that lonely road up to the sign.
Actually, I think we kind of made a mistake at the beginning. I haven't seen. I picked this one because I wanted just to be surprised by it, and so I just copied the chapters that they had in it, and that's really interesting. I had not heard of that one before. The smell.
Neither have I.
Yeah, the smell is kind of interesting, and I think that probably would not be residual, right? Wouldn't that be more? I don't know. It's maybe like hybrid between the two, like an intelligent haunt and a.
Yeah, I would say it's a hybrid, because if it was residual, I believe the only thing that would replay over and over would be her
like
leap,
music or something, and you'd see it, or
her leap from the H sign, because that's what killed her. So that would be like residual, because it's just replaying something that happened there, unless she always took a walk in that area, and if that was the case, then that could be residual as well. She was basically following the path that she would have in life. But this seems to be intelligent. Now, the gardenia thing, first of all, I wouldn't even know what gardenia smells like. Do you?
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, and if I'm outside, I would not necessarily go, I smell good. I smell I mean, because you're going to be surrounded by flowers, I feel like, in that area.
Yeah, a lot of wildflowers, and it was certainly. It's interesting to say at the title, this is the most terrifying. I don't know if it's the most terrifying, because I've seen some terrifying stuff, but it was kind of interesting that they started with this one. I hadn't heard of this before, but it might be more localized, like probably in LA. It's like something that's really well known. I don't think anybody would know about this one outside of this one.
I mean,
outside of the area.
I mean, if you're going to the Hollywood sign at night thinking that it's going to be like a scene from La La Land, and all of a sudden you see
right
ghost, I mean, you'd be freaking terrified. All right, we're moving on.
I would. Yep.
Number 9, the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. The Brown Lady.
I've seen this before.
Lady Dorothy Walpole, the sorely mistreated wife of Viscount Charles Townsend. Locked in her rooms by her husband until her death in 1726, some believe she still haunts the house she could never leave. So nicknamed because of the brown brocade dress she wears, many have encountered the lady, including guests of a Christmas party who reported a lady with no eyes, King George IV, who left in the night as a result, and Captain Frederick Marriott, who described encountering a woman who, quote, grinned in a malicious and diabolical manner. Yikes. In 1956, a London-based photographer managed to capture the now famous image of the lady on the stairs.
I've seen I've seen this this photo that's on the screen right.
This is the one that I remember. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And still has not been proven to be not true or like doctor. How would you doctor that back in those days?
So okay, that was my question. If it had gone through some sort of scrutiny and vetting and whatnot.
I think so. And you know, I don't know about those other images that they show. They kind of like kind of messed up the whole ambiance of the thing. It's like that's not what the whole point of it was. But that to me, and it has not been debunked. They don't know how that image. It could just be light, a play of the light,
Yeah.
because you can kind of see it, like kind of the top of it. There's like a little bit of stuff going on there, but that to me looks very much human-like. And again, they didn't have a lot of you know, like what's the best camera now today on the iPhone? You can like do like certain level of like, you know, whatever. Like you didn't have that. So it's pretty compelling.
Yeah, for unsophisticated technology at the time, this definitely does look compelling for sure. I mean, kind of looks like Virgin Mary, to be honest, but you know,
It almost looks like it has like a third eye or something like that going on there, right? You know, yeah. I mean, of
at
course,
the
probably
top
not,
there,
but
maybe.
yeah, I mean, probably not, but yeah, it's more like the Virgin Mary, I guess, if you're going to go with anything.
Yeah, for sure. Depending on what you believe or don't. All right,
Indeed.
we'll continue.
Number 8, Lincoln's Ghost, also known as the White House Ghost.
President is tall.
Since that fateful night at Ford's Theater in 1865, countless people, from presidents to visiting statesmen and women to staff, have reported seeing Abe's ghost throughout the White House. Some have simply heard footsteps and knocking and attributed the sounds to the deceased prez.
The president has been shot.
However, in 1942, Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands heard a knock at her guest room door. When she answered, there stood the former president. The Queen immediately fainted. Furthermore, Sir Winston Churchill, fresh from a bath, was surprised to see Lincoln standing by his fireplace. The British Prime Minister, never to be outdone, bid him good evening and admitted himself at a disadvantage, to which the ghost reportedly smiled as though amused and vanished.
I love that story.
I don't want to keep using Daniel Day-Lewis and the whole thing, but because he's pretty terrifying himself. But I actually, you know, I think that is an intelligent haunting to me in every way, shape, and form of it. It's like it's interactive, and I could totally believe that. It's like, you know, he went through all that. There's a lot of tragedy that happened with Lincoln, you know, from when he got into the White House and left. Obviously, you know, being assassinated. He wasn't assassinated in the White House, but you know what I mean.
I do.
There's a lot of reasons for me to like buy into that a little bit because of the sense of humor that he had. He did have a legendary sense of humor as well, and so did Winston Churchill, by the way. And I'd be curious. We're going to look into that at some point in the future and see if he has a ghost in what's it, 10 Downing Street. But you know, a leader like that, I can totally see him holding on because he didn't have a lot of other good stuff going on in his life. It's like this is where I belong here in this place to sort of like mess around with people.
So I don't recall, obviously, because my memory is stupid. But did they say that this is still happening right now? Like people are still seeing Lincoln's ghost?
Yeah, I think that's like it's like a legendary ghost of the White House. Maybe he's not there. Maybe he already moved on. Maybe that's not happening. But the, you know, like the Lincoln bedroom, that's very popular in the White House for dignitaries and for people who are close to the president to stay in. And I don't see why it wouldn't be like a popular place unless something like weird is happening there.
Sure.
So I think it's still going on today.
All right. Well, he's seen a lot then, if he's still hanging on. All right.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Number 7, the Flying Dutchman. Not a person this time, but a ship. While there are variations to the legend, the basic story involves Captain Hendrik Vanderdecken, who in 1641 ignored the pleas of his crew to take safe harbor during a storm. He swore not even God could halt his course, and from that time on, the Flying Dutchman and its entire crew were cursed.
I offer you a choice. Join my crew and postpone the judgment.
Accounts of the doomed ship have cropped up all over the world, with the ghost ship usually interpreted as an omen for a coming storm or death.
Was always in my blood to die at sea. It was not a fate I ever wanted for you.
The chilling tale of the doomed crew, first spread by sailors, has since seen its share of exposure in popular culture, however, inspiring everything from a Wagner opera to the Pirates of the Caribbean to SpongeBob SquarePants.
Ship has a spooky green glow around it.
That's probably because its good-for-nothing owner is too lazy to clean or drop his in the right place.
Number
Yeah, I mean, I grew up knowing about the Flying Dutchman before any of those shows came out. I mean, we're a little bit older, so I don't know if you've heard of it, but for me, that's always been kind of like a legendary, like ghost ship in the sea. There's obviously no evidence of any of it, but it's a legendary ghost story for sure, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, ghost ships. I know we tackled a little bit of that in a previous video, but I don't know. I mean, I don't put a lot of stock in it, because I feel like a lot of the sightings could be just atmospheric conditions that play tricks on the eyes. But if people are saying that they're interacting with the undead on the ship, I don't know. That would be a little difficult.
It seems unlikely, and I think that what we're going to have to do is a Bermuda Triangle kind of version of this as well, because that I think there is something to it. But as far as the Flying Dutchman, it is definitely a legendary ghost story, but I don't see any evidence of it.
We'll continue here.
Anchor's in the right place.
Number 6, The Ghosts of the Stanley Hotel. The inspiration for Stephen King's hotel in The Shining, the Stanley Hotel is said to be inhabited by many ghosts.
Yeah, that'd be my reaction.
Staff and guests have complained of bizarre sounds, objects moving of their own accord, and the piano in the dining room playing by itself at night. When the hotel opened in 1909, it was considered one of the pinnacle luxury hotels. However, first hauntings were reported as far back as 1911, after a housekeeper, Elizabeth Wilson, was electrocuted during a storm and survived. Paranormal activity is frequently reported in room 217 and the concert hall. In early 2016, a tourist snapped some photographs of the empty lobby, only to find that perhaps he hadn't been so alone after all.
Maybe. I think that it could be. It's a very old place, a lot of experiences going on there. I think that would lend itself to be more of the residual type haunting, because nothing's interacting with anybody, you're just seeing things. So that I could believe. I mean, and it's on a mountain, right? So on Mount Hood, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on there, or is it in Denver? Is it on the Rockies?
It's elsewhere. I think it's in Colorado.
Okay, that's what they were trying to say, but still, it's kind of the same kind of ideas, like the quartz and certain minerals and gems, kind of like are able to sort of conduct that type of activity, which I think makes a lot of sense. I mean,
it's fascinating the thought about like limestones and all of those things that kind of draws or generates energy that leads to paranormal phenomenon or paranormal experiences, depending on how the energies impact the person observing, right? So and it's kind of confusing. I know on the people watching on YouTube, they showed images of a hotel that's actually based in Oregon, which I think all of the
I fell for
exterior shots were at the why am I forgetting the name?
Timberline Lodge.
Yeah, Timberline Lodge. but the interior are obviously in
A
at
different area.
in Estes Park, Colorado. And
Oh, nice.
the thing about you, I think you're correct that, I think many of the people, I'm sorry, many of the experiences that people are having, I don't know if they're still having them, are more residual because of the age of the hotel, where it's at, and and possibly just a lot of shit that happened there that either the hotel buried, information on,
Yeah.
because
And, and
scandalous.
I was gonna say it's like not every residual haunt is like tragic. There's still a lot of good things that happen too. It's like people witness things that are like not threatening whatsoever. It's just like a portion of time that was captured because of maybe the joy that came from it, the energy that came from it, right?
Yeah, true. All right, moving on.
Number 5, the Bell Witch.
This story
Oh dear.
is
Oh
one of
dear.
the only paranormal related events where it is said an
He has a necklace.
actually caused the death, murdered a living person, John Bell.
A frightening 19th century tale, the Bell family of Adams, Tennessee had one serious ghost problem. The spirit, soon known as the Bell Witch, tormented the prominent farming family for years, upsetting furniture, assaulting them, cursing them, driving off the daughter's suitor, and finally killing. People traveled from all over to witness the disturbing events, many of whom were chased away by the shrieking specter. In 1820, John Bell, the patriarch, was supposedly poisoned. According to the family, as he lay dying, they could hear the witch laughing.
The Bell Witch spoke in a disembodied voice. I gave old Jack a big dose of that last night, which fixed him.
To this day, unaccountable disturbances are reported on the Red River settlement, the site of the old Bell farm, and these disturbances are thought to be the work of the violent witch.
I don't know about that. That seems to me more like it's like a poltergeist type of deal, or it could be demonic, but not witch related. I don't think in any way, but because that takes a lot of power, psychic power, to be able to do some of that kind of stuff, and or a poltergeist type of activity. That's what that kind of what that that's what that reminds me of more so than just some gal who died and is coming back to punish people.
And it could be, something that we tackled with the Skinwalker Ranch episode a while back, that it could just be the area as well. And, the Bell family happened to build their homestead in just a cursed piece of land, maybe. And that
on top of an area. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So too bad for them.
I mean, that sucks. I wouldn't have to. I mean, you're looking at property value and
property.
Trying to,
exactly.
Get your ROI on that thing. Watch out for that. But man,
it's funny that it's funny that Watch Mojo interspersed footage from the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I saw that too.
All right, moving on.
Come on, Mojo.
Come on.
Number 4, the ghost of Anne Boleyn.
I love you. And I love you. Please, after everything we've been to each other, after everything we were, please.
The ghost of King Henry VIII's ill-fated second wife, Anne Boleyn, has been allegedly spotted throughout the UK. Most frequently, she's seen at the Tower of London, where she spent her final days, was beheaded, and later buried. However, the Queen has also been seen at the window of the Dean's Cloister of Windsor Castle. Most dramatically, Boleyn is said to haunt Blickling Hall as well, a grand manor built on the old Boleyn family property. On the grounds, she is said to be occasionally seen arriving by a ghostly carriage, driven by headless horses and a headless coachman, while she herself holds her severed head on her lap. Well, that's one way to make an entrance.
My lady, I can now tell you that the king has decreed that you will not be burned, but suffer a quicker death by decapitation.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's a lot of ways you can look at that, and it sort of depends on what side of this, the story you're on. But I doubt that one very much. I think that's definitely more like sensationalized. And is probably not true. That's just my opinion. I don't know.
Like more
What
of
do you
an
think?
urban legend versus actual haunting.
Right. Yeah. It's not like, it's a legendary ghost as well, right? Because people attach themselves, at least where they, even tourists probably are able to convince themselves of something. But I almost want sometimes wonder about that. It's like the people who believe in it, are they able to make it happen? If that makes any sense, like the
Manifest
amount
it.
of manifest. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, like to sort of come up and you have all this psychic energy around it, and then it happens.
Hmm.
And is it really a ghost, or is it just the manifestation of what they think? Almost.
I mean, yeah, because isn't that basically the a feature of poltergeist activity is that there are people who are actually manifesting the activity
Yep.
unwittingly, subconsciously, whatnot. And yeah, I mean, who knows? It's just kind of it would be funny to have like a collective manifestation of Anne Boleyn's headless ghost arriving via a carriage with headless horses and a headless.
Holding your own head.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that'd
like,
be
that's
fantastic.
totally on brand, which I'm glad that she's,
Yeah.
she at least like kept the theme going. So, all right, we'll
Fantastic.
continue here.
Number 3, Banshee.
The Banshee.
A shadowy
Dario Gil.
folklore. The name Banshee comes from the Gaelic words meaning lady or woman and fairy. But she is no Tinkerbell. While more frequently heard than seen, this
Eee.
ghoul is said to appear as either an old hag or a beautiful woman, but always folded in a dark, ragged cloak and with long, wild hair. Unlike most ghosts, banshees are not the lost souls of once living people, but more a force of nature. Her wailing is said to herald the approach of death, and to hear her cry is to know that someone in the family will soon die. Once a family hears the banshee screaming, there's nothing they can do but wait for the inevitable.
And that's more of like a Greek myth. That comes from the Greek myths. They're not called banshees, but I can't remember what they're called. But there's like three lady kind of witch banshee types who, if you commit like fratricide or matricide, like they're going to come after you, right? They're going to follow you until you're dead, basically. So that's linked to like the Greek myths, maybe even before that. But the fact that it exists and it's been around for so long, it could be just a story back from the old days, or maybe that was something to it because it lasted for millennia.
Yeah.
Even to the Banshee area, and it's really interesting to sort of think about some of those old myths and legends of the past. Could that have been some of it based on what actually happened? It's just stories, maybe, probably, but there could be something to it.
And didn't they say that it's an Irish, it's sort of an Irish legend? Like it doesn't happen anywhere else in the world.
Oh no, there's like similar experiences, like I just mentioned in Greece,
Oh my.
of like women who are chasing to get revenge essentially on something, whether you killed your brother or your dad or whatever it is. It's something like that. It goes back much further. I mean, Ireland's been around for a long time, but you can see that maybe from the Greeks to the Romans to the Celts,
Sure.
maybe creating that type of a legend. And who knows? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Is like it's punishing you for something, right, that you shouldn't have done. It's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, it heralds death. And so
Yes.
I don't know if it was something that, again, people back then who didn't know how the world worked would just attach. I mean, we talked about like I think there was one episode when they were talking about like howling dogs in the crags of Scotland or wherever it was. I can't remember.
The
But
hellhounds, yeah.
hellhounds, thank you. And I mean, this could just be against some sort of. I mean, look at me trying to debunk a legendary ghost, but it could just be again atmospheric, conditions that leads to wind howls that sound like a lady, screeching, whatnot. I don't know.
Or maybe the guilt of the individual, right, who did commit some crimes,
Right.
against kind of against their family, and I could see that being something that is just sort of like very easy to become an urban legend, kind of more than anything else.
Right. Exactly. All right. Moving on.
Number 2, Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
Oh yeah.
It's an old slumber party standby. The blood-soaked woman is said to appear to anyone brave or foolish enough to stand in front of a mirror at night and say her name 3 times. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody... Nope, can't. Scared. Biggie smile. Biggie. But the results supposedly vary. Some say she will tell your future. Others say that she will scratch out the eyes of whoever called her. This ghost is said to be the spirit of Mary I of England, who earned her grisly moniker after having hundreds of Protestants butchered. The Bloody Mary legend has gone on to inspire many movies and TV shows. Personally, we prefer our Bloody Marys with a stalk of celery and lots of ice.
I just prefer not to tempt fate. So it's kind of the same thing with like what's the thing? What is that thing? Oh shoot, I forget of it now. But I mean, it's kind of the same kind of thing. Like I'm not gonna like say something like that 3 times in the mirror because I don't want to like invite anything in.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So what's the thing? What's
Ouija?
it called? Huh?
A Ouija board?
Yeah, Ouija board. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I was blanking there. The Ouija board. Yeah, it's like a excellent example of what you don't want to mess with because you're inviting something into your house. So whether or not the Bloody Mary legend is correct, or my paranoia about the Ouija board is correct, I think it's like inviting in something that you don't want in your house. That's kind of the way I see it.
Oh, I totally agree. And your paranoia is well placed with regard to the Ouija board. I don't even know when I stopped like even fantasizing using it. I think it was after we started paranormal investigations, honestly, because I think we learned from one of the peeps in the group that it's not a good idea. And remember, I think there was didn't we do an investigation one time and we saw a Ouija board? Like, I think this was the one where the people were like, we see a half ram, half man in our kitchen. Remember that?
Yeah, let's not get involved in anything like that. Yeah, and I think that there is a lot to that. I mean, that accessing a certain realm where we shouldn't be, or inviting in, even not
Right.
necessarily accessing, but it's like, hell no, I don't want that shit in my house or around my family. I mean, it was like, I'm serious about that. I was like, no way. And so I think that when people do that kind of stuff, watch out.
And
Watch out.
let it be known, peeps, that if you do end up using a Ouija board and then you do end up having some sort of paranormal experience, it's not such an easy thing to just throw away the Ouija board or burn it. By the way, there's a certain process supposedly out there that will help cleanse things back up. So
Yep.
Just a quick household hints and handy tips on that one. All right,
on.
moving on.
Number 1, the Headless Horseman.
Ah, yes.
Legends of horsemen, clad in black and headless, crop up everywhere, from Ireland to Germany to America to India. In some tales, the horseman is either death itself or death's servant, but at other times, it's a heroic figure, such as in Germany, where he blows his horn, don't ask how, to warn hunters of danger, or seeks out revenge on those who've committed serious crimes. But perhaps the most famous Headless Horseman is the ghastly villain of Washington Irving's 1820 short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, where a headless rider chases off the schoolmaster Ichabod Crane on a dark night, or goes on a murder spree like in the Tim Burton adaptation. Your choice.
Yeah, I think that one's a true like ghost story that makes any sense to sort of like scare kids around the campfire.
Right.
Although there is certainly it's kind of interesting that I didn't know that existed outside of the U.S. I didn't know that was a thing. To be honest with you, I
That
thought
have
that was just around the United States, but that happened.
Hmm.
I mean, as far as like the whole Johnny Depp story around it. So to hear that, it's really interesting when you just look at like a certain myths and legends that exist all around the world that kind of sort of correlate and have a kind of a thread through it. I didn't know that one was like in Germany, but I guess it makes sense because of like immigrants and
Yeah. Old
things like
country.
that. Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense when you think about like that. It's like a good Hallows Eve kind of deal, and
Right.
certainly will not try to discredit that story because I think it should still go on throughout eternity.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, people still experience paranormal activity today.
Yeah.
But I also would I guess my comment would be back then in the olden days, people didn't have a lot to do. So I mean, I think that
That's true.
so they concoct. I
Yeah,
feel like they concoct these stories and legends to kind of just I don't know, entertain themselves and entertain others. So, but
no, but it's definitely legendary, and all those I've heard of, which is pretty impressive. That the stories still continue today, and whether or not they're real, it doesn't matter so much that they're legendary. So they kind of live in our minds.
yeah.
So in a way, they kind of are real, I guess, if you look at them that way.
Well, I mean, there's still references to them. There's kind of there's a longevity to their mythology and their or to their legend. So yeah, I don't know if I agree with you. I think the title from this Watch Mojo video is terrifying legendary ghosts. I wouldn't, I don't know. Maybe we're jaded because we're former paranormal investigators. I don't know, but
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
folks, if you enjoyed this content, please give it a like and share it across your socials to help get the word out about our show. If you hadn't already done so, please subscribe, and on YouTube, hit that notification bell to make sure that you don't miss out on any future episodes. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.